Not if, but when's the last time you had a setback? I mean, when life threw you a curveball. You're knocked down by hard times so hard you weren't sure you had the strength to get back up. Fear not, because you are not alone and help is on the way. Let's have ourselves a pocket sized pep talk because the doctor's in the house. He's about to help you turn your setbacks into incredible comebacks. Stick around, you'll be glad you did.
A Pocket Sized Pep Talk, the podcast that can help energize your business and your life with a quick, inspiring message. Now, here's your host, Rob Jolley.
Today's guest, Dr. Willie Jolley, is a Hall of Fame speaker, award-winning singer, global best-selling author, and nationally syndicated radio host on SiriusXM and Radio 1. Dr. Jolley's best-selling book, A Setback, is a setup for a comeback, shares powerful tips, and that stands for techniques, ideas, principles, and strategies that other winners have used to turn their setbacks into incredible comebacks. Happy to have you with us, so welcome to the show, Willie.
Well, it's a pleasure and a privilege and a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure for me to be on with you. I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, can't refuse it. Didn't seek it, did not choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but our eternities are wrapped up in it. So I'm grateful for this minute, this moment, this opportunity to be on with you with the Pocket Sized Pep Talks podcast with Rob Jolley. He's almost a Jolley, but he's not quite there yet. He got a S where there was a Y in the other word, Jolley, Jolley. And the E is for enthusiasm.
There you go. Hey, he's battling me on enthusiasm, but I'll tell you what, you could do a better job on my name because I'm closer to that than you think. I'm Jollis. You're Jolley.
Nice.
So easy to do.
I'm Jolley. Yep, you're right. You're right. You're much closer. You get in the club, and you got the right look with the haircut. Okay,
there you go. Listen,
yes.
I'm a big fan and a believer in the concept that struggle is actually a vital stage in development. So let's dive in, Willie. We got to acknowledge that trouble sometimes seems to follow certain people, but you maintain that it's crucial to have three things: faith, focus, and follow through. Talk us through that for a moment.
Well, first of all, I want to give people some context before I talk about faith, focus, and follow through. Why you should even listen to this podcast, why you should even take your time. It is because I have learned about setbacks and turning them into the comebacks, not from a 3,000-foot level, not because I read about it in a book and did a research paper about it, not because I listened to other people who have been through setbacks and turning them into comebacks, but because I lived it and I learned through it, and then I grew through it. My story, my background is I was a nightclub singer who sang in dark, dank, smoke-filled nightclubs around America. I did jingles as well, so I was a full-time singer, but I made the majority of my income singing in nightclubs, went into the nightclub, which I had built into the number one night spot in the area. I went in one night and they said, we want to talk after the night show. I said to the guys in the band, they want to talk. We're going to get a raise finally. It's time for us to get our raise. We got standing room only audiences. We won all the awards for best jazz singer, best entertainer, best performer. Things are going great. Well, when I went to the office, the club owner said, we love you guys. Y'all are great, but we made a change. We found something a lot cheaper than our live entertainment that's taking over the country. We bought a karaoke machine. And this was during a karaoke craze. I had never heard of what? A karaoke machine. You play music and people sing to it and it's filling up nightclubs. It's a lot cheaper. There's greater return on investment. We're going to try that for a while. And I said, but what about my bills? And I learned that night, nobody cares about your bills, but you and the people you owe. And I went home, told my wife I got to do something else. I took a job with the school system as a drug prevention coordinator, talking to little kids about staying away from drugs. From the little kids, the teachers would say, can you come and speak for our group? I guess so. And I go to the teachers group and someone there would say, can you come to my church? I said, well, I guess I could. And then someone there would say this and that. Before I knew it, I was speaking for people all over the country. Then Les Brown, the great motivational speaker, heard me and invited me to be on tour with him and his wife at that time, Gladys Knight. And that allowed me to be introduced to corporate audiences, as well as, more importantly, at that moment, radio and media people. I got a little radio show on a little station. It then moved to the larger station. Then it got syndicated. And now I'm in 49 markets every morning with Wake Up and Win with Dr. Willie Jolley, on Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell. Every morning at 8:15, you hear my message, as well as on my social media around the world. Every day we send a 1-minute motivational video to people globally. And then SiriusXM offered me an opportunity to do a show, and that was 19 years ago. I now have the #1 self-help show in the country on SiriusXM. And because of the radio shows, one day a book publisher called my office and said, "I've been listening to you on the radio. I like your ideas. Have you ever thought about writing a book?" I said, "No, I've never thought about it." He said, "Let me make you an offer." I said, "I just thought about it." So I wrote a book called It Only Takes a Minute to Change Your Life. Became a national bestseller. Then I wrote a book called A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback. It became a global bestseller. Then turned Setbacks into Greenbacks, another bestseller. Then An Attitude of Excellence, another bestseller. And then a marriage book with my wife, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. That's another bestseller. And then in 1999, I was named one of the top 5 speakers in the world by Toastmasters, joining Colin Powell, Norman Schwarzkopf, Nelson Mandela, Margaret Thatcher. And then I was inducted in the Speaker Hall of Fame a few years later, and then named a legend of the speaking industry. And last year, I got the Joseph R. Biden Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. And then at the middle of the year, I was given the highest award in the speaking industry, the Cavett Award, which is like the Oscar, the Heisman. And all of that happened, Rob, because I got fired. I had a setback. And so my story is to encourage people that setbacks happen. But when I wrote the book about turning setbacks into comebacks. And I started with my story. That's only a few pages. But the other 200 and some pages is about other people who had setbacks and turned them into comebacks. And the lessons I learned, like the man who I interviewed had a small business, 2 small children, had a setback, went bankrupt, lost his house, lost his car, ended up living on the street. But he came back and built a company called Daymark, one of the biggest merchandising companies in the country. How about the 9th grade math teacher I interviewed, who was told when she went to the doctor, "You got terminal breast cancer. You got 6 months to live." She said, I don't understand. They said, "Go home and get your will in order, get your paperwork done. You got 6 months. She looked at the doctors and she thought for a moment. She looked up to the heavens and said, "You know what? I just decided I'm not going to die. Not now. I got too much to do. I'm going to live for at least 25 more years." Well, they sent her home to die. That lady lived for 33 more years. And when I interviewed her, she said in the book, "Tell people that I had cancer." Yes, I had it 4 times. But I might have cancer, but cancer never had me. And she said, one other thing, when doctors give you a diagnosis, that's what they can do, but God gives you the prognosis. And then I interviewed a lady who was going up the corporate ladder, got almost up to the top, and they fired her, told her she was too old. They didn't need her anymore, but she came back and built a company that surpassed their company and eventually bought their company. And all of these stories show you that setbacks happen. They happen to you, they happen to me, they happen to everybody. But a setback is nothing but a setup for a comeback, if you make up your mind that that's what it's going to be. And so you asked about the 3 qualities. You must have faith. You got to have faith that this setback is not the end of your story, and that there's a God who would help you to turn it around if you would trust your faith in him and walk in faith and don't have fear as your measuring stick or as your guiding principle, but have faith as your guiding principle. Faith. Then you got to focus on your goals and dreams and the things that you want. See, if you ever look at a golf tournament, that you can focus on your present situation, or you can focus on the long-term goal. Imagine this golfer, he is trying to win the tournament. He hits the ball and a gush of wind takes it and blows it over into the woods. He's in a bad spot. Now he could panic and whack and lose a lot of strokes, or he can stay calm, focus on, let me get this shot out of here to get back in the game. Because my goal is to win. Let me not panic. So focus your energies so that you can make wise choices, wise decisions. Faith, focus, but then it takes follow through. That you can have great goals, you can have great dreams, great objectives, but until you take the action to follow through, to keep going, and to not give up when things get tough, which they will get, when things get hard, which they will get, that you keep going. That's when you turn your setbacks into comebacks. And so faith, focus, and follow through are essential to helping you to turn setbacks into comebacks and helping you win more.
Beautiful. Where does hope play out in all this, Willie?
Hope, if you have hope for tomorrow, it gives you power for today. Mm-hmm. So hope is your fuel to keep you going. See, hope for something in the present, the future, gives you power in the present. So you got to have hope to get through it. If you don't have hope, if you have a hopeless, see, there's nothing more pitiful than a hopeless person. If they have no hope, they have no energy, no fuel, no impetus to keep trying. They give up. They just have hope. They're hopeless. And so when you got hope, there's the possibility something good can come from all of this. And that's what this book is about. A Setback is a setup for a comeback is a book that has gone on to be a global bestseller. And I encourage people to go and look online on my website to some of the stories and messages and even get the book because it's still a bestseller. You get it on my website. I'll sign it for you and send it to you. We have the collector's edition on my website, the hardcover, which are now becoming more popular and more valuable than they were when I first put it out because it's a collector's item. But A Setback, a setup for a comeback is that book that details how to get through this, how to keep going, how to have hope for the future because you got to have hope. Yeah, it is something that keeps you going.
Yeah, I love what you just said too, because this is the fuel. Without that, we can't get to those other pieces. And
that's right.
And I think people underestimate hope. I heard a quote once, Willie, you're not gonna believe it. I read it in a sports column. I went, this is just lost. But this guy said, there is a penalty for hope. Let's put it on the table. He said the penalty for hope is disappointment. He said, but we can't be afraid to be disappointed. See, that's what happens. People hedge their bets. They go, Willie, I don't want to get my hopes up, man, because, what if I don't succeed this? But isn't that pitiful when you think about somebody avoiding hope because they're afraid of disappointment? Let's just run right in there. We'll take that disappointment. We'll pay that penalty. But I love that quote.
And you know what? That's a pessimist.
Yeah.
Versus an optimist. A pessimist sees a problem in every opportunity.
Right.
The optimist sees an opportunity in every situation, every problem, every challenge. Yeah. That's just a pessimistic perspective. And they're going to be pessimists. And they're going to be, in fact, they're going to be pessimists all around you as you start to go on the process of turning your setbacks and comebacks. Pessimists every which way. But you've got to be the optimist. You've got to do that. Now, how do you do it? Now, that's the question. Because people tell you, be optimistic, but they don't tell you how. Stay positive, but they don't tell you how.
Right. Hit the ball 300 yards, but they don't tell you how. Yeah.
They tell you the end result, the thing that they want you to do, but don't tell you how. My is to explain complex situation and complex problems in a very easy way. So a third grade person could understand this. So how do you get hope? How do you stay positive? How do you remain optimistic? Well, a simple question is answered by this thought. It is yet your inputs determine your outputs. Garbage in, garbage out. Good stuff in, good stuff out. What are you reading? What are you listening to? If you're filling your mind up with negative reality shows of people who are negative and drama filled, that's what your perspective will be. But if you fill your mind up with the pure, the powerful, and the positive, you start to think different. When you think different, you do different. When you do different, you get different. So you've got to make a decision to fill your mind with the pure, the powerful, the positive. It's about your inputs. Story about the young boy who goes to the wise man in his village. And he says, wise man, wise man, wise man. I got two dogs inside of me that are fighting each other, constantly fighting each other, a negative dog and a positive dog. They're constantly fighting each other. Wise man, which one is going to win? And the wise man says, the one you feed is going to be the one that wins. So what are you feeding your mind? Negative, pessimistic information? Or, yeah, I can do it. Yeah, I can do it. You can do this. That is why you got to listen to this Pocket Sized Pep Talk podcast. Make it a part of your ongoing relationship. That's why you need to go to WJWOW.com. Sign up for my 1-minute motivational messages. Monday through Friday, every morning, I put a 1 minute. We know people are busy. A 1-minute motivational, uplifting message to encourage you, to inspire you, to empower you, to bless you. Every morning, Monday through Friday. And people around the globe have said it's transformed their businesses, transformed their marriages, transformed their finances, transformed their families. And so WJWow.com and get it free, but it's your input that determines your output. So listen to Rob Jolley. Listen to Willie. I got it right. See,
you got it right.
Listen to Willie Jolley and my Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast. Get the 1-minute messages and start filling your mind up with the pure, the powerful, the positive. It will have a profound impact on the results you get.
What I love about working with authors, is put it this way, is they learn how to say, like you are, they learn how to say things that are complex, kind of in a simple manner. So I'm going to give you a big question. I want you to succinctly as possible try and respond to it. How can people maximize their potential in life?
How
succinctly maximize the potential? We got them getting up now. They're dusting themselves off. They're putting one foot in front of the other. They're inspired by you. Now let's maximize their potential in life.
The answer to that is simple. You decide. You decide that this is going to be a life well lived. You're gonna give all you got and even some. You're gonna make a commitment and a decision. It's a decision that I will play all out, all in, all out, all given, everything. There's no holding back. I like to say it in my speeches. Hank Aaron was one of the greatest home run hitters of all time. But did you know he had twice as many strikeouts as he had home runs? Most time when he got to the bat, he missed. But every time he got to the bat, he swung for the fences. He went all in. No holding back. I'm not trying to get a single, a double, a triple. I'm going all in every time. Most times he missed, but when he hit it, he knocked it out the park and he made history. So you decide, are you going to be comfortable and satisfied with just good enough? Or are you going to go all in? You're going to give your best every day, every time you do something that has your name on it or your signature on it. I'm giving my best. I'm giving my all. No half-hearted, half steps, halfway performances. Going all in. When you do that, you make that decision. You start to maximize, and actually, not just maximize. That's good. But you start to play above what you even believe or are capable of, because you expand. I think it was Einstein who said that which is before you and that which is behind you cannot compare with that which is within you when you give everything you have.
Yeah. Wow. All right. I know this is a very busy man. He's got show after show. I'm going to ask you one more question. I'll start wrapping it up and be and honor your time, Willie. We work hard at mastering our circumstances, but sometimes that can create a bit of complacency. What do people need to work to keep going? So we've climbed that mountain. Are we going to stay there, or are we going to change and grow?
Well, in my Setback is a setup for a comeback book, I talk about the three types of people. They are the quitters, the campers, and the climbers. Now, the quitters look at the mountain in front of them, this big mountain, and they say, "Oh, that's too big. I'm not even gonna give it. I'm not even gonna give it any my time." And they stay in the valley of mediocrity, just down in the valley with the masses, or the drudgery of day-to-day rat race. Woe is me. And that's where they stay the rest of their lives. Then you get the campers. The campers attack that mountain and they start up the mountain and they get halfway up the mountain and they have what we call base camp, a place where they can refresh and renew and get some restoration. But unfortunately, often people get to base camp and they get comfortable. They get a job, they get a house note, they get a car note, they get some level of comfort, and they end up staying there for 40 years. After 40 years, they get a nice key and a retirement, and that's it. Boom. But then you got the climbers. Now, the climbers, they start up at the mountain like the campers. They get to base camp like the campers. They refresh, renew, restore themselves, but then they keep going. They keep going up the mountain. Now, in that process, there are going to be avalanches. They're going to be cold and frostbite and blizzards, but they keep climbing and they keep climbing and they keep pushing and they keep striving. They keep clawing till they get to the summit. And then they stick their flag in the ground and make history. Oprah Winfrey is a climber. Bill Gates is a climber. Steve Jobs was a climber. All sorts of setbacks, all sorts of trials and tribulations, but they keep going. And that's what I want to encourage people, that you got to keep going, folks. Is it going to be easy? No. I told you at the beginning, it's going to be hard. Yes. It's going to be challenging. Yes. It's going to be difficult. Yes. It's going to be days when it's so tough. All you can do is, as they say in Australia, when I was there speaking in Australia, when you have a tough day, you just go take an aspirin and a lie down because you just need to regroup. But tomorrow morning, you get back in the fight. You get back in the grind. You get back in the work that needs to be done because God has given you another day. You know, I say on my XM show, and I encourage everybody to listen, channel 141, Saturdays at 4, re-airs Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6. I interview the best and the brightest thought leaders. Recently just had David Rubenstein, the billionaire, owner of the Baltimore Orioles, founder of the Carlyle Group. I just did a replay of a great interview I did with the one and only, my dear friend, the late, great Wally Famous Amos, an interview I did 10 years ago.
So he's got a quote on your book, back of your book, I believe. Yeah.
That's right. I've got people like Bill Marriott, Gladys Knight, Brian Tracy, Les Brown, Steve Case, people who have been world changers are on my show. So I encourage you to listen either on my XM show, Saturdays at 4, channel 141, which replays Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m., or you can go 24/7 to my podcast and listen to hundreds or get access to hundreds of podcasts. But anyway, these kind of people are the people who say, you got to keep fighting. You got to keep trying. And so I'm saying to all of you that it's going to be tough sometimes. It's going to be trying. It's going to be difficult. But that is why you got life. God's gift to you is life. That's what I say at the beginning of every XM show. God's gift to you is life. Your gift to God is what you do with your life. Do something extraordinary so that you can live this life, go back to a life well lived, that you've made the commitment, that you've decided that this is it. I'm giving my all. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is it. Yeah. And I'm going to go all in. So I encourage everybody. I'm asking everybody to go to WJ Wow to get the free gift of the daily 1-minute messages. But also when you go to WJ Wow, you get some ebooks. some music, some things that'll inspire you, absolutely free. Because I've learned the more you give, the more you get. The more you put out, the more it comes back to you. So I want you to go get the free stuff. We got hundreds of dollars of free gifts and goodies on that site that people would pay for, but we give them away free. The other thing I encourage you to do, if you like this message, and if you heard me on the Pocket Sized Pep Talk interview with Rob Jolley, then you will send me an email, info@williejolly.com. I like that, and I want my gift. Just say, I heard you on Rob's podcast. We'll send you a digital gift for a book called Only the Best on Success. A number of Hall of Fame speakers came together to put together a book, Only the Best on Success, with each one doing a chapter. My gift, we'll send it to you by email. Just send us an email, info, I-N-F-O, @WillieJolly, WILLIEJOLLEY.com. And you'll get it. And one more thing I want to give you is that one of the things you might have heard me say was I have a marriage book. My wife and I have been married going on 40 years, haven't had an argument in 38 years. We were on a Today Show, and they said, you never had an argument? I said, I didn't say that. I said, we haven't had an argument in 38 years. Those first couple of years were like World War III. But we learned some wise principles from some wise teachers that helped us to get past arguing, get to loving. And therefore, we have had 38 years of just a great marriage. And so people wanted to know how we did it. Well, we did a TED Talk called How to Never Ever Argue Again in Marriage, based on the book. The book is called Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. So if you go to jollymarriage.com, jollymarriage.com, if you're married or you're thinking about getting married, you're in a relationship, then you go there, you watch the TED Talk. It's free. And then there's also a free chapter from the book, which is the biggest chapter in the book, is about communication, because marriages break up for one of three reasons: sex, money, communication. And if you communicated better, you'd have better sex life. If you communicate better, you have a better money life. And so communication is really the common denominator for most of the issues. So we say, go there, the chapter on communication, the biggest chapter in the book, we give away free. And then if you want to get the book, we recommend you get two copies, one for each of you. You should read it at the same time, not one read it now, one read it later. Read it at the same time, discuss each chapter at the end of each chapter, and then you will see your marriage improve, be enhanced, and be lifted up. So jollymarriage.com. So that's my thoughts for the moment.
Good. I have to teach you how to promote better, because you're a little shy about that. And we need to get those things out.
You got to put them out, because if you don't put them out, people will suffer and struggle when I could have helped them. It's like a doctor who has a medicine that will heal your issue, but he's too shy to tell you about it. I don't have that issue. I don't have that issue. I took a medicine when I had that shyness issue, helped me get over it. And I can tell you about the stuff we do. I could be on this show for hours telling you about the things we've created to help people to grow themselves. Look, we have a mission statement to inspire people globally to do more, be more, and achieve more, and become all that God created them to be. That's our mission statement. So every time I get on a radio show, every time I get on a television show, I got a mission I got to be on. I got to inspire people globally to do more, be more, and achieve more, and become all that God created them to be. If I don't do that, then I have dropped the ball.
You're walking the walk, Willie. You by the way, half of your promotion is right behind you right now. It's all around you. You're sort of sitting in it. There it is. Listen, and we forgot a setback is a setup for a comeback. You promoted everything but that one. So let's not forget that one. And now read it, folks. Put a comment on there. He's only got 121 comments. He needs more. That's not enough. Not for this guy. Look, we know how people can get a hold of you. I just want to tell you, it was an honor to have you on the show. I had high expectations of you, and of course you knocked it out of the park. So really grateful to have had the conversation. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And I always leave them with something. Follow your dream wherever it leads. Don't be distracted by less worthy needs. Shelter it, nourish it, help it to grow. Hold your dream deep, down deep where dreams grow. Follow your dream pursue it with haste. Life is too precious, too fleeting to waste. Be faithful, be loyal, and all the day through, the dream that you follow and you fight for will keep coming true. Been a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure for me to be on with Rob Jolley on the Pocket Sized Pep Talk interview podcast. Boom!
Boom. We'll do it again as well as we can next time, everybody. Until then, stay safe.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate and recommend it on iTunes, Outcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more information on this show and Rob at jollis.com.